Welcome to Entreprogrammers Podcast, the podcast for developreneurs, with your hosts, Josh Earl, Derick Bailey, and John Sonmez, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
Hey, John Sonmez here, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank the sponsor for our podcast, Signal. Without Signal, we wouldn't have a place to host our podcast, and as you know, Signal is actually from one of our own here at Entreprogrammers. It is the creation of Derick Bailey. So Derick is actually the owner and creator of Signal, and it's a podcast hosting service. So if you are interested in creating your own podcast, go on over to signalleaf.com and sign up for an account today and check out how easy it is to get started. The thing I really like about Signal is just how easy it makes it for hosting your podcast. Of course, I have my own podcast, Get Up and Code, that I host at Signal, and I've been very happy with it. We're hosting Entreprogrammers there as well. And so thank you again, Signal for sponsoring this show. And don't forget to check out Signal at signalleaf.com if you're interested in starting your own podcast.
We're live. All right. So how you guys doing?
I am in full-on panic mode at the moment.
Oh no, what's going on?
Taxes.
Oh. Yeah, that's fun.
So I have my taxes done for the income for 2013. That's no problem. I owe like $3,700, which, considering that I had 12 grand in the bank just for taxes, owing $3,700 is pretty awesome.
I'm not even going to tell you how much I owe.
Yeah.
I would tell you it's a six-figure number, though.
Yeah. With all your property and all your income and everything, I'm not surprised. But yeah, having an accountant that knows tax laws and is awesome is so worth the money.
Yes.
Because I swear she does this every year. I save 30% of all my income, and I end up paying like 15%.
Yeah.
She's
That's nice.
Amazing. But the reason I'm in panic mode is because now that I'm back to being independent, I have to pay estimated income tax every quarter. And my first payment for estimated income is due on April 15th with income tax basically at the same time. And I owe $8,900 for my estimated income tax for the year. I have made $14,000 for February and March total.
Yeah, so
I don't know what the crap to do. I'm trying to get a hold of my accountant to ask her what I need to do about that. If I actually have to pay the $900, or if I can just pay the $4,200 for the actual income that I've earned. And be done with that.
I can help you here. Well, again, okay, so now since we're on the air, I'm not an accountant or a tax professional,
Right.
or I'm not a doctor or a lawyer.
I am not a lawyer.
I am a real estate agent in Idaho.
In Idaho.
Where you no longer live.
Where you no longer live.
But so here's the deal. So, definitely talk to your accountant, but I don't like paying quarterly taxes, so I don't. So here's what I do.
You pay a massive penalty at the end of the year if you don't.
Nope, I don't. Here's how I do it. Okay, on the fourth quarter, right, I just catch up for the entire year.
I talked to her about that once, and she said that if you don't pay something through the entire year, you will end up paying some penalties. It might not be as much, but you'll pay some.
There's no penalty. What they do is they at the end of the year, the amount that you paid has to be equal to what it needs to be at that. Most people divide it up by the quarter.
Right.
But trust me, I've done it multiple times now, and I've never hit a penalty. But also
that may also be you being a C corp or an S corp or whatever you are, compared to me being an LLC.
True.
I'll ask her again.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's worth. Seriously though, it's worth considering also just that whole thing, because I'm in LLC, but I file as an S corp, and I'm telling you, I save a lot of money on self-employment tax, a lot.
Yep.
So it just depends. I mean, it caps out at 120, but it's really worth double checking that again. I know I keep on harping on that, but I don't know. I mean, I've been through like 4 or 5 accountants that have given me the same
Right.
advice, and I've kind of, I've sat down and I've paid the, couple $100 an hour they charge, and have hashed this out with them with the tax, laws right in front of me. So.
Right.
So I would definitely. The other thing about that is also you can, the quarterly estimated taxes are based on one of two things, which is your previous year taxes or what you expect to earn this year.
Which is what I'm basing mine on. So I told my accountant that I expect to make 125,000 this year, and right now I am nowhere near that. I'm on track to make 80.
So your expectation would be lower then. So then. Yeah.
Yeah, well, my expectation right now, my actual income right now is lower than my expectation. I am still hoping that with the subscription service for Watch Me Code, with my desire to write another ebook this year, with everything that I've got going on, I'm still very hopeful that I can bring in 125. It's just having that expectation higher than my actual income right now is screwing me over at the moment.
Well, see, expectation as far as the law defines it, like again, not an accountant, but
Right.
so I understand this, right? Is not based on what you hope, right? Like if I set expectation, it's based on what's on the books right now, based on projection.
Yeah.
So it would actually be based on what you're at now,
Okay.
not on your hopeful future endeavors. So.
Right.
And you don't have to. It doesn't have to be 4 even payments, right? I mean, you could. That's one way to do it, but you could also split it up. If you're estimating your income for the quarter is the way I understand it. So you could, if you have a pretty good idea of what you made this quarter, just pay on that, and then, if that changes later, then just bump it up.
Yeah, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing, because you're right, it doesn't have to be 100% even, but it does. I do need to pay something. I need to. I've been trying to get a hold of her. Need to get in touch with her. I gotta head over there to hand them my signed income tax forms anyway. So hopefully I'll be able to talk to her when I walk into the office.
Yeah. The one thing, like taxes, my theory on taxes has always been never give the government any money until you absolutely have to.
Yeah, and that's my accountant's approach as well.
Well, I mean, on $100,000, even with lousy interest rates now, if you're paying 6 figures in income tax, not paying that quarterly, you get to keep the interest on that.
Yeah.
Which you didn't have to pay tax on, I guess. But
Yeah. And here's the thing, like, do you have a mortgage?
Yeah.
I do, right? I've got
Yeah.
lots of mortgages, and I'm paying interest rates on those mortgages, right? So it's not like I put money in the bank and I'm getting like, 0.5% interest. It's like I'm taking money, I'm usually paying off I mean, I'm calculating it so that another income will come in that time frame, but it's not just sitting in the bank. I'm using it to pay down something that's charging me 5, 6, 7% interest. So
Right.
that or to invest in something that like another property that would have a higher return. So it's really, I mean, you can get caught, but because you don't have enough money to pay when it's time. But
Yeah, and that's the thing that I never want to allow. I've been caught once where I didn't have enough money and I had to borrow against the future, and that sucked really bad. It was not a good situation to be in, and I basically I will never let that happen again. When I put money in the bank for taxes, it stays there for taxes. I'm not touching it. I mean, if you've got enough income coming that you can do the calculations and be able to invest that money or pay down debt or whatever and still be okay, then more power to you. But that's beyond my ability at this point.
yeah, I mean, I always have a reserve fund, or I mean, I always figure like if it really hits the fan, I could liquidate an asset. But
Right. Yeah, I mean, if it really came down to it, if I was gonna lose the house or something like that, I've got 100 and some odd thousand in my retirement account with Edward Jones, and I could take that money out.
Oh right, yeah. So you've got
There are places for me to survive if it comes down to it, but I don't ever want that to happen.
I've already taken all my 401k money out
Yeah.
and paid the penalty on it.
Yep.
And
I'm trying not to do that, but that's another thing. I have a really good setup. I've got a great little setup with my investment guy at Edward Jones. He actually used to work for my accountant, which is pretty awesome. But I have a life insurance retirement policy, a LIRP is what he calls it. It's life insurance. It's like $500,000 in life insurance or something like that. But it's also a retirement policy in that when I get to a certain age, I start taking 0% interest loans out of this life insurance policy.
yeah, it's annuity. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to end up, if I can continue to pay my $2,500 every quarter, it's going to end up paying my current yearly salary of like $100,000
Okay.
at the time that I retire.
You don't even want to know what I think about that.
Yeah, I probably don't.
You don't. Trust me, you don't. I don't carry any life insurance at all, and I never will, because it's betting against the house. I mean,
I generally agree with you.
Yeah.
In this case, I think it's
there's
okay
no
because this is
incentive
my
to count on
retirement fund as well. This isn't just a life insurance policy. The life insurance policy becomes my retirement fund.
Yeah, but where does the money come from?
It comes from me, from my income, and then
Right.
investments. When I put the 2,500 quarterly into this policy, it gets invested into stocks that my Edward Jones guy manages. He directs the money into the right funds in order to make sure that we're getting the return that we need for this policy to grow.
But yeah, I guess my whole point in it, I mean, without going too far off the road, is what happens when they do that is they basically, I mean, they take a cut off of the top. Like they're definitely able to pay you way down the road later because they're making so much money off your money. If you just controlled that money and made money off of that money, you would make more money and be able to fund your own retirement in almost
Not
all
worth my
cases.
time. That is far more involvement in markets and stocks and things than I ever want to be involved with. This, for me, is absolutely worth the cost because it prevents me from having to learn about that stuff and having to manage it myself. My guy at Edward Jones makes money every time he buys or sells something on my behalf, and that's it.
Yeah.
He doesn't continue to take a percentage off of anything that I earn. It's just when we buy and sell
When
something.
you have the transaction.
Right. And we do it on a fairly regular basis. He's been pretty phenomenal at getting me some good growth, and we've had a number of times where we've taken $5,000 off of income from one stock and bought something else, and then just continue growing it from there.
I don't know. I don't believe that anyone can ever beat the market. So I think if anyone grows their retirement or the market ever increases someone's value, it's because the entire market, the entire thing rose. There's not a.
Oh yeah. There's no question about that. But in diversifying everything the way that we're doing it, we're hedging against when things go down.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got a lot of. I mean, I used to day trade and.
I'm sorry.
And I don't know. You should. There's a book called The Random Walk. That would be a good one. But I don't know. I don't think anyone can ever beat the market. Well, I'm very jaded against financial investors or financial advisors because any financial advisor that I would actually trust their advice would be a multimillionaire, and that means that they wouldn't be a financial advisor. So it's like. Because if someone has any ability to have consistent returns in the market, they are beyond rich. If you could just consistently return 5% on money in the market, you could make millions. You could go down to Wall Street tomorrow and you could just get a margin account. You could show like a track history of 6 months of making a return, and then you would just be ridiculously rich. The problem is like when it averages out, like even the top brokers in the nation, investment bankers, they actually do no better than someone randomly throwing darts at the Wall Street Journal. It's like so it's it's I don't know. I don't like that industry very much at all. But that's
I understand your perspective, and good for you.
This is the financial episode, I guess, right?
I guess so.
This is where John's jaded financial advice, my crazy financial advice that no one agrees with.
John,
If it works for you, then more power to you, man.
Do you invest in stocks at all, or are you strictly real estate at this point?
Right now, I've moved all my stuff out of stocks. When I did invest in stocks, here's what I did. There's only two things that actually work in the market, I think, which is selling iron condors, which would take a long time to explain. It's an option contract where you basically sell an option to someone else that says that the market's not going to move above a certain or below a certain amount. It basically is going to stay within their range, and if it does, you basically get 5 to 6 times your investment. And if it goes out of there, then you have to mitigate the risk. But if you consistently can sell iron condors and sell them off of off of one of the large indexes, then you can definitely make decent returns. But it is work to do. And then the second one that I've done and consistently made returns is picking one stock, following that stock, a dividend stock, and then selling options against that. So like GE, I made a lot of money just instead of putting my money in the bank, I would take like $50,000 or $100,000 and I would buy GE stock because GE is a completely stable stock. It pays dividends, and then I would sell my options against that stock. I'd sell future options against it. Every single month I'd sell those options out, and most of the times the options would expire worthless. But you get a premium just for selling the option, and you basically sell a strike price higher than the stock itself. And basically what you can do is if you consistently do that, you can make decent returns, in the double-digit returns in every couple of months on your money. But like I said, it requires work. And it requires understanding the options markets.
Yeah,
so it sounds like you're kind of capitalizing on other people's belief in the market.
Right.
What you're doing. Both of my positions there are being the casino, the house, taking other people's bets. Mm-hmm. Both of those. That's the only winning position I think in the market. And there's even people that would argue with me and say, no, John, that's not even a winning position, But I think if you play it right, that you can basically act as the house. But real estate is the best investment by far. That's why everything is outside of.
I do agree with that 100%. There's all kinds of financial advisors that I listen to that say that over and over again. Honestly, I have some qualms with the way the stock market works as well. But at this point in my life, it's currently my best option, and it's the direction that I'm heading for now. In the future, I do hope to get into some real estate investments, but that's in the future when I'm actually stable with income and savings and everything else.
Yeah. Well, when you want to get into real estate, just let me know because I can definitely help you out there.
Awesome.
You can sell us some property in Idaho.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's not even worth
property in Idaho.
It's not even worth my time to sell I would just hand it off to someone else, but I can give you the advice on how to buy it. Because that honestly, that's the best investment by far. That's why messing with the other stuff. It's just real estate is a guaranteed thing. Over time, if you buy real estate, it will go up in value, and it does. It's an asset that actually has utility. Always has utility, and that's why it always produces return. Even the stuff we're creating now, even if you create an ebook or a course online, right? That thing's not going to live more than 5 years or maybe 10 years. It then, whatever technologies we're using now, there's no, you're not going to get a continual return because its utility will become marginalized over time. But real estate never ever becomes. It only becomes more valuable unless we have a, we start colonizing other planets. So
or unless somebody wipes us off the country.
I guess.
One concern I have just about the digital stuff that we're doing is a lot of it is if the economy did take a nice downturn, it would become a lot less essential for people to buy this stuff.
See, I don't agree with that. In my experience with a down economy, that's the time that you want to be an independent consultant and have products and services that you can sell. Because in my experience in the last 4 years, the well, let me take that back. In the last 14 years, I've worked primarily as a consultant, most of the time through other companies as a full-time employee. But in the last 4 years, 3 out of 4 years, I've been an independent consultant.
Yeah.
And I have seen consistently that when the market is trending down, the need for consultants is trending up because companies still need the work done, but they
Yeah.
don't have the resources to pay all of the benefits and everything that goes along with full-time employment. So they reach out to consultants. And as a consultant, I found that having screencasts and books and other resources that I owned was a huge advantage for me in reaching out to clients because I could give them the one-on-one service, but then I also had the resources for, hey, I want to know how to do this. Oh, here's a
Yeah.
screencast. Hey, I want to know how to do that. Oh, here's an ebook. And that was a huge draw for clients to be able to have those resources.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So that's my experience on that end, anyways.
Or you can,
Yeah.
or
But John's, you're absolutely right, John, in that these things are time limited. The value of my Backbone plugins book is going to reduce over time as more and more frameworks are produced, as the content goes out of date, as Backbone becomes less and less popular because of framework XYZ becoming the new hotness or whatever it is. There's
Yeah.
going to be some reason for these resources to be reduced in value.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the best thing that anyone can do, like, I mean, and I just interviewed a whole bunch of really successful software developers, right? Some of them financially, no, not so much. You would be surprised, but one of the things, like, it was like taking all the money that you're making from these things and turning them into real estate. I mean, starting off by paying off your mortgage because that's once you're mortgage free, that's a pretty nice, like you just decrease your permanent living expense. I mean, your mortgage is really just your rent. You have a permanent renter for your own investment property, which is yourself. But, but converting, and that's what I've done is I've channeled everything that I've made my entire career since I was 18 years old, like, into real estate. And now, I mean, I've been able to pay off enough real estate to have a point where I can live just off of the real estate, and that's never going to go away. And that's the thing is like all that we're doing. I mean, ultimately, in my mind, that should be all of our end goal is to take that money and then funnel it into the only permanent thing that exists, which is real estate investment. I mean, there's only really I guess there's three vehicles to make money for nothing. One is real estate, and that has the highest return, and that's if you have property management. Two is dividend-paying stocks that are stable. I mean, they have a very, very small risk, but they pay you dividends, which is like a few percent, like maybe 3 or 4%. And then three is bonds, which long-term bonds, which will pay you like a couple percent, like 1 or 2%. So I mean, if you have like $10 million, then you invest all that $10 million into bonds, and if you're getting 1 or 2% return, hey, you're getting you're living like a king. But not most of us have $10 million. But with real estate on just about $1.5 million, you can make pretty close to $100,000 a year income.
Right. And if you get rid of your mortgage, if you are able to do this financially, getting rid of your mortgage on the house that you're currently living in opens up the possibility of buying another house and paying a mortgage on that one. You would not reduce your monthly expenses, but you would increase your net value, your assets, because you would now have two houses, and you'd be able to do something with that second house, renting it to other people, improving it, doing all those investments in order to start building up that real estate-based income. That's ultimately one of the things that I want to do in life. And once I get financially stable, is just getting to financial stability and getting my current mortgage paid off. It's hard work, man. I'm still in panic mode here. I've got I'm nowhere near on track to the 125,000 that I want to make this year, and I got to get that fixed. And that means I need to get my Watch Me Code subscriptions out soon, and I need to continue pumping out episodes there and get more subscribers. And I've got all my back catalog for that done. It's all up on the site now. I've got 6 subscribers now, 5 subscribers, 5 out of 7 people that I've emailed.
Getting your income from Signal Leaf, right? At this point.
What's that? You're a little quiet again.
You're officially beating your income from Signal Leaf now.
Oh yeah, that's very true. I am officially making more money from Watch Me Code subscriptions.
Mailing list of 10 people.
But Amazon sure gave you a nice little birthday gift, right?
Holy cow, they did. Those price reductions are going to save my life on Signal Leaf, because I spent $212 on Amazon streaming fees last month, and that'll be like $50 this month.
Yeah, it's so awesome. I just got
That'd be so nice.
I got my bill and it was like 34 cents, and I was like, what? Because I mean, I have my course up there, and I've got like 1,200 people signed up for my 10 steps course, and it's HD video, it's gigs of stuff up there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is probably going to cost me some money, and then I was like, 34 cents? Yes. Thank you, Amazon.
Thank you, Amazon.
It's only going to get cheaper too.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I am officially, even though I have not yet launched, I've emailed 7 people, and 5 out of 7 people have paid a subscription fee of $5. I am officially making more from Watch Me Code than from Signal Leaf, because I have 4 subscribers at the $5 level on Signal Leaf, and I have 5 at Watch Me Code.
So you still want to give up on screencasting?
I think the short episodes and the subscription fee is going to save my life in that regard.
Yeah.
Because I've got 2 out of 4 short episodes. So I've got 6 episodes, 6 very short episodes that I'm rolling out with the subscription service. 3 of them are going to be free because they're just installing Node.js on Mac, Windows, and Linux. But then there's going to be, with the initial launch, there's going to be 1 paid episode, which is going to be your first code in Node.js. And then I have two additional episodes that'll come out. I'm probably going to do it every other week, at least to start with, and then get a back catalog of short episodes, 5 to 10 minutes each. Get a back catalog built up so that I can start scheduling them more regularly.
Didn't excuse me, Peepcode or Railscast do something like this, where they had like a free one and then a premium?
Yeah, that was Railscasts.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Ryan Bates he totally burned out about 9 months ago, and he's kind of left the internet at this point. He's not doing anything.
Man, I thought about doing that.
What would I do? I got nowhere to go.
I was like, I'd be in a cabin in the woods for like a month, and then I'd be like...
Yeah, but you could afford to.
Hey, do you guys... Well, I was actually going to... Do either of you follow Mr. Money Mustache? Okay, look him up. You're going to love this guy. He's going to retrain your thinking about finances. This guy... Okay, this is the only guy I've ever found that has the exact same view on finances that I do. Like everything that I would tell you, he would tell you, except that he's got Wall Street Journal credibility and New York Times credibility, and I'm just a crazy guy. So
crazy guy in Florida.
Yeah, but no, Mr. Money Mustache. Look him up. Subscribe to his blog. He's basically, like, just to give you the short story, he retired at I believe it was 30. On $20,000 or $24,000 a year income with his wife, and I think he's got either 1 or 2 kids. And he basically said anyone can retire at like 30, like in 6 years from wherever you're at right now, you can retire. You only need like 20, 30K a year income to live. Like, and he lives comfortably, just fine. Just by living frugally and and just, I mean, his trade-off is, he's like, look, it's so much better to retire and do what I want to do with my life and like not have the newest iPad and and only make 24, whatever, $30,000 a year, than it is to like work for the man for 50 years and then to put into my 401k and then hope that someday that I'll have enough to be able to live. So I don't know. He's got some really interesting, just interesting viewpoints on life.
Yeah, I've heard other people doing that too. It's not uncommon.
But
Well,
hey, so
it is uncommon, but it's not unknown.
it's possible. Yeah, people do it.
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys want the numbers?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Numbers.
How did your launch go?
All right. So man, this thing has been a roller coaster, right? So I've got some huge
I got
learning points.
another commission sale this morning.
Oh, you did?
We should
I didn't
let's
see
try
it.
to guess. Let's try to guess how many sales John got before.
I'm gonna
okay,
get
yeah.
75.
That's what I was gonna guess too.
75. Okay, so then I'll say 100. No, it's probably. I think it's around 75 based on what you were saying.
I'm gonna say 80. I'll bump mine up to 80.
Okay.
Okay, so the current sale count right now at it's actually past the launch. I had a couple roll in this morning
Sure.
of people using the code that weren't supposed to be, but
Right.
is at 101.
Holy cow,
Holy
dude!
cow!
Yeah.
Nice.
So the total
Wow.
total dollar value of purchases is $20,419 right now.
Nice.
Dang.
Your last second email must have really shook the trees pretty good there.
Okay, so I'm going to set the date range on DPD to go from April 3rd to April 4th,
Uh-huh.
It's for your launch.
and I'll tell you how many purchases came in at that time. 35.
Wow.
Yep. So here's the deal. This is really interesting because
Very.
I scheduled 6 emails for this launch, I think,
Mhm.
over a week period of time. And 2 yesterday, right? And I thought, oh man, this is way too many emails. Like people are going to get pissed. Like this is just
Right.
ridiculous, right? It's like if you're not going to buy it on the first email, you really think after I haunt you 5 times you're going to buy this thing? And the answer is actually
Yeah.
after I haunt you 6 times and tell you that this is it, you're going to do it. My unsubscribe rate is not even horrible. Not even horrible.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. This is just insane. I mean, my email list isn't even huge. It was like 3,300 when I began this thing, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Every time I send an email out, sales, 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 sales. It doesn't even matter that I've sent 5 already. Send another. It doesn't even matter I sent one this morning. Yesterday, I was like, I sent an email this morning, right? And then I made a bunch of sales. And then the 6 o'clock email at night, I was like, okay, that's just, maybe one guy's gonna buy. Bam, 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 bam. It was just sales, 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 sales. So it's insane. It goes against all logic that you would think. Like it blew me away. Every single time I sent emails, sales. Crazy. Yeah.
That's interesting.
And like looking at the rates on this, so I did a day before launch, but I'll start with my launch. So I did one quick day before launch. Then on my launch email, I had an open rate of 38.9% and a click rate of 12.6%.
That's impressive.
Wow.
And that went out to like 3,278 people,
Yeah.
and I only had 17 unsubscribes.
Wow.
And
I
then
get 17 unsubscribes for sending my weekly.
If you weren't such a spammer, Derick,
Apparently,
come on.
I'm a marketing douchebag over here.
And then the next day I sent the Bob Martin interview, the first launch content piece. I still had a 35.8% open rate with
Right.
only a 2.4% click rate. People don't like Uncle Bob. I don't know what's going on here, but 14 unsubscribes, right? So then the next day I sent the John Skeet and Jeff Atwood one. It had a 34.7% open rate and a 2.5% click rate. And then only 8 unsubscribes. You would think this number would be going up, right, as people are getting more annoyed.
Right.
But I think my list was also used to the high frequency already.
Yeah.
And then I sent the April Fool's one. I know you're curious about this one, Derick.
Oh man, seriously.
So this one actually had a 39.5% open rate after all
Really?
that. and a 6.3% click rate. It was one of my best selling. I sold like 25 courses from this email, and it had 20 unsubscribes. At this point, people were getting annoyed, and some people, like, I got a lot of emails that were like, "Oh, that's funny, ha ha ha," but I got like at least maybe one or two emails where someone was like, "That was in poor taste," or and I was like, "Good, unsubscribe from my list." I don't understand how you could think that's in poor taste, but
Yep.
So so that's when it started. I mean, at that point, that's like my 5th email, right? So I expected. So then came the email yesterday morning, which had that had a lower open rate at this point. It was 28.1%, and it was still a 3.6% click rate, and 12 unsubscribes, and then came the one last night. So that one had 25.4% open rate still. 2.6% click rate, but then 20 unsubscribes and some kind of ticked off unsubscribes at that point.
I've had a few did not subscribe unsubscribes lately from purchases of my screencasts. So I guess I have not made it apparent that when you buy my screencast, you'll end up on my list.
You know what? When we signed up for that copy hackers seminar, did you catch what Joanna sent an email saying, "Hey, by the way, you're getting emails from me."
Right.
And here's why. I hope you'll stick around. That might be a good thing to look back at and rip off. Do something similar.
Yeah.
Have an autoresponder or something.
I wonder if there's a way to do an autoresponder just for people that come in through a DPD sale, though.
I haven't found a good way. To do that.
With lead pages and the lead boxes, it's great because I can set up a custom email for every lead box.
Yeah.
So I do that. I have an auto responder for each specific box, and it's got slightly different information in it, which is awesome. But with DPD, I don't want to spam people from from two places if they're signing up to a lead page.
There's supposed to be. So I researched this a little bit. There is a feature in MailChimp that lets you target by the source, the sign-up source. But I haven't found DPD sales to be like, I haven't seen anything show up in my list of sources that would let me target.
Can you target by API key?
No. Like I just have API key generic. If we could target by API key, that would be perfect.
Because I use a different API key for all my different imports.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. And they don't let you do anything with it. It's ridiculous.
Totally need to.
Yeah, we should get on that.
I want to research Aweber just to see if they have. I mean, I know their user interface is worse, but if they have the power tools, I would switch because I've been getting so frustrated. I have multiple lists now in MailChimp.
I thought about
doing
that too.
Well, that's how you have to. Aweber forces you into that.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. That's the only. There's no group. From what I understand, the guys on the Fizzle show talked about why they switched to MailChimp, and you have to have multiple. What I understand is you have to have multiple lists in Aweber, and then you end up with duplicates. So.
Right.
And you're paying for all those because you pay by volume.
You don't pay for them in MailChimp. You paid for duplicates if you had duplicates, but you don't pay for each list doesn't have a separate pay. It's your old. Right. So
right.
I don't know.
Total volume.
What I'm looking at is and what I did with I don't know. The problem with MailChimp is I can go I went into DPD and I got all my customers right as CSV. And then I can segment them once, but the segment that isn't dynamic. It's unalterable if you do a static segment. Mm-hmm. So I can segment and say these are purchasers, but then I have to remake the segment every single time instead of just saying we'll add these 5 people to it.
Right.
So it's sort of annoying. What I ended up doing for this launch is every time someone bought something, like every night, I unsubscribe them from my list, and then I have their email addresses. Right, and I'm gonna resubscribe everyone today.
Interesting.
But I didn't want them to keep getting the dang emails, and there was no way that I could stop it because I wanted to say, okay, if it's a DPD sale, then that's enough. Take them, let's not send emails to them.
Yeah,
Put them in a
we should
segment.
reach out. Let's reach out to Mailchimp about this because
Seriously.
they have a blog post about how to do it, and I didn't see what I needed, the information I needed showing up in there. So
Yeah. Yeah, because you ultimately, if you could just have the power to say, to control, to know like where the person came from and segment them automatically based on where they came from, and to have them be overlapping segments as well, like which I guess they can do with the segments because it's like a flag being put on them. But if you could do that, that would give you all the power that you need to do everything that you want, because then you can say, okay, this email, like for this launch sequence, like, okay, you could say something like, okay, email 2 in the launch sequence should not go to people who have already are in the purchasers segment, but it should go to everyone else.
Right.
So.
Right. Yep. Yeah, and it should, Mailchimp should support that. I haven't been able to get it working yet. I used Aweber originally, and I really didn't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, like Mailchimp is a million times better in my book. I have noticed a lot of people, like Amy Hoy, switched to Infusionsoft.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of other, I've seen a lot of people on Infusionsoft lately. I've never looked at them, but I kind of thought they were like the black hat, favorite of the black hat crowd. So I'm kind of surprised by how many people seem to be using them now. But I've never looked at Infusionsoft.
I don't know. Maybe that's not a bad thing necessarily. If it's...
Well, I mean, it could be if you're because a lot of the precautions that these vendors take are to keep your emails out of spam boxes.
Oh, I see.
If it's known that a specific sender has a lot of people that use it that are scammy, then all your emails are going to be under that same call. So.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, my emails have been starting to land in my own spam box lately, which is really bothering me. I don't know what's going on there. Like if it's my subject lines, or I'm gonna try using Mailchimp's. They have a scanner that you can use to evaluate your emails. But yeah, like one of my emails, I think my last minute offer email from my launch.
Yeah.
Both of them ended up. I'm on my list twice, and both of them ended up in my spam.
Are you opening those emails?
Yeah.
And showing images?
Yeah. I've been actually taking them out of spam each time it happens. And for some reason they're ending up. It's happened several times now, so I don't know.
There was I think I forwarded you guys the thing when I signed up for our podcast theme. He that guy sent an autoresponder that was like whitelist me.
Right.
Yeah.
That was it was like, are you getting this? And so it kind of like made me think that maybe I wouldn't get the stuff, so it made me feel like I need to whitelist him as opposed to generic whitelist. That seemed like a pretty good approach for the first autoresponders to say to them like, did you get this? If you did, some people are having trouble. By indicating that some people are having trouble, then it kind of pushes someone down the path of actually whitelisting you.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I have never once whitelisted anyone, any mailing list ever, and I get those, be sure to add us, things on a pretty regular basis. And
I actually don't.
I throw those away. I delete those emails as soon as I get them because I've never had a problem.
Right. That's why I pointed out this one, is because I do the same thing, but this one actually made me think about it because I was like, oh, if other people are having problems where they're not getting these emails and this is important, then maybe I should whitelist these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fair. I've had a few DPD sales go into people's spam folders. Doesn't happen very often. I mean, it's like out of the 600 unique customers, it's happened twice, I think.
Oh, by the way, DPD does not handle like Swedish names, apparently.
Really?
PayPal. Their PayPal gateway, if someone has that little O with the slash through it,
right,
payment fails every single time. Like the payment actually goes through PayPal, but DPD fails it, and I have to go in and manually activate it. It happened like 4 times over my and it was always someone with a O, a weird character in their name.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's crazy. I've never had a problem.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So yeah, so I was pretty happy with the results.
Yeah, seriously.
That's,
That is an amazing launch, man. That's something to blog about and get all kinds of traffic from.
Yeah, I doubled my goal basically.
Yeah.
And it totally changed my impression. Like I said, I thought that when you first send the email, that's when you get the most sales. I didn't
Right.
realize at the end was
Yeah.
when you get the most sales potentially.
well, I think it depends on a product too, because yours is such a high ticket item.
Yeah, it may
Um,
take people a while to get used to the idea of selling or
Yeah.
buying that much.
I know for me, like for a high ticket item like that, it's definitely going to be, I need probably at least a couple of emails. Usually I'll star the first one and reread it like longingly several times.
Yeah.
Right.
You know? Now I have noticed for my books, when I've done 2 or 3 email. I think the most I've ever done is 3 for like a sale.
Yeah.
And that does drop off quite a bit. Like the
Mhm.
first one, I'll get at least 50%. I'd have to go back and actually, these are made up numbers, but it seems like about 50% come right away, and then it trails off. And the last minute email, like I'll get a nice bump out of it,
Yeah.
but it won't be more, like it certainly won't be more than
Yeah,
that.
that's my experience too. For a screencast release, I'll get, a couple hundred, 150 sales, let's say, and then over the next few days it'll be, it'll be 150 and then 80 and then 40 and then 20 and then 10 and then,
Right.
that last, hey, it's here's your last chance for this discount code. I'll get like another 80 or 90 sales.
Right, yeah. I also wonder, like the other thing that I was wondering was payday, because I mean, there were multiple people that had emailed me that said, "Oh, my credit card's closing," or like, "Will you give me the
Right.
discount, one day later because
Right.
it's payday or
Right.
something?" So
Well, the interesting thing was we all noticed at the end of March, I think we all had like our sales
Yeah.
dried up. So
Mine
I
have dried
went
up again.
I went 3 days without selling.
Yeah.
I sold one book in 3 days, which is highly unusual. Usually I
Same
sell
here.
2 or 3 a day minimum. Some days I'll sell, 3 to 5. So I sold nothing for that weekend.
Right.
And
yeah,
March 1st or March 2nd, I sold like 6 books.
Yep. Yeah, I
And now
sold
I'm back
6
up
on the
to,
first, I sold 7 on the second, and I sold 0 yesterday. None at all. That is like, where'd my sales go? I had all my ads running. I was getting, good traffic from the ads, but I got 0 sales yesterday. So I've turned my ads off at this point. I'm wondering if
Yeah.
my ads are even relevant or even
well,
driving the
did
sales.
you set up did you set up that, that's a,
No,
the bonus
that's
thing is
I
like
need
a 5-minute thing.
right.
Seriously, just do that. It'll give you some insight into where they're coming from.
Okay,
I'm
I'll do
thinking,
that. And
yeah,
I turned them off. I turned off all my ads because of my panic mode about
Yeah.
taxes and money and everything.
Well,
But I'll-
I think that, so I've been running, so after we had that email discussion, I started doing an experiment where I was just gonna, I'm advertising my DPD book page.
Mhm.
I've been doing this for 3 days now, this is a good test because I don't typically sell a lot there because I only get 20 or 30 organic hits there a day.
Mhm.
So I've driven at least 500 hits there with Twitter now, and I've sold 0.
Yeah.
Now I know that sales page is not very good. Your sales page for your Backbone book, I think, is much better than my sales page. So with a really good sales page, I believe you can send cold traffic there and
Right.
Yeah.
get some conversions. But I suspect that what you're seeing is that you're doing a lot of blogging, and I'm betting that those extra sales are coming from traffic spikes from blogging and such,
Yeah,
could be.
and not your ads. But
So we should pick this apart because I was going to talk about this as well. Like I've spent a lot of money on Twitter ads in the last couple of days as a test because I was like, well, I might as well, right?
Mhm.
And I spent $380 on Twitter, right? And I've gotten 1 confirmed conversion out of it according to their conversion tracking.
Right.
But what's really interesting is like, okay, like today I set $100 budget on my best engaging thing, right?
Mhm.
To get them right to the landing page. Okay, it's a global audience, right? And so far on that, I've had 452 clicks, no purchases. Now this is full price, granted, and this is, I mean, I've burned up 75% of my $100 budget, but I also had other campaigns where I don't like, out of all of the clicks, like thousands of clicks I've had. Actually, let's not say thousands. Let's say like 2,000 clicks, right?
Right.
I've had one sale.
Right.
Yeah.
So is it? My thought was no one's going to buy cold like a $300 purchase, and because it's somewhat crappy traffic because it's global. But is it just true that the traffic is so crappy when you target globally that you can't even sell a $25 book? Is that, I mean, 'cause
I think it is pretty likely, yeah, or that you're not going to sell very many. You know, I've spent at least $50 at this point and haven't sold anything.
Yeah,
So-
I've spent a lot more than that. I was running $20 a day for the last week, and
Yeah. So I mean, I have
sold zero
been,
yesterday.
you know, I've proven I can convert that traffic to mailing list subscribers at a pretty high rate, like 20 to 25%. But I've not been able to get any conversions on sales.
Right.
And it's been what I have been doing though is I'm using it, so I've actually given up on actually selling anything with that campaign.
yeah.
But what I'm doing is I'm using it to test the headline for my new sales page.
Oh, I see.
Interesting.
So I threw up like half a dozen tweets, and just with different concepts that I was thinking about using. One of them was that sublime superhero quote that I liked so much.
Yeah.
Still going to use that. Did nothing.
Really?
The
Wow.
engagement rate was through the floor on that. It was really surprising. But what the one that's killing it right now is getting more than, here, let me look at the quote exactly. It's really simple, and I didn't think it was, I just threw it up there as an afterthought, but it's getting, let me refresh it real quick. So two things here. So the best engagement rate that I've been able to get was I used personalization. Let me read it to you. So engagement rate. Okay. So so of my original tweets, the one that did the best was PHP developers : master Sublime text with Sublime productivity link. And that called out PHP developers specifically.
Yeah.
And that got a 1.78 engagement rate. No, that was over 2%. It was like 2.5% actually. And so that was a pretty good one. But the one that I threw out there that's doing really well, that is probably going to be my new headline, is this. It's really simple. Make Sublime text work for you. 2.8% engagement rate.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's pretty good.
Now, are you running these at the same time of day?
Yeah, I'm running them. Well, I paused. So some of the ones that the PHP one was doing well, so I paused that. So I'm currently running the Make Sublime Text Work for You, and a couple of other ones.
So you
but yeah,
really
they just
shouldn't
ran.
be pausing individual tweets or anything like that. You should be running all of these at the same time together.
Well,
Yeah.
the problem,
Otherwise your sampling is not going to be.
yeah, but I've gotten, so like what I did was I ran like 4 or 5 of them, and a couple of them were not worth continuing. They were like, I was getting a less than half a percent engagement rate
Sure.
on over 2,000 tweets. So I got like a decent
okay.
sample size.
Yeah, for those, get rid of them. But for the
Yeah.
ones that are doing well, don't run them one at a time. Keep them
No.
together.
Yeah, I've got like 4 or 5 that I'm running right now.
Okay.
But I paused the PHP one because I knew that one was good, and Twitter was favoring it because it had a high engagement rate. I wanted to test other ones, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I know that one works pretty well. Let me look at how some of these other ones are going to do. So, because yeah, Twitter will only show the ones that are getting the highest rate. Like they kind of filter it for you.
Right.
That's what I'm seeing.
So there's another mysterious factor to this, which I've been trying to, I don't know, this is really going to throw us for loops, but I know this is a factor now because I actually had someone that I caught from a Twitter ad that I sent an advertisement that said, oh, I purchased your course already. So what that told me was that definitely. I mean, if that's the case, we're definitely hitting people with these ads multiple times. So someone might see your ad and 3 variations of it, and then what could happen is, repeated exposure is a great thing for a brand, right? Like they're like, oh, like well, okay, perfect example, because this happened to me. I seen John Lee Dumas's ads like on Facebook multiple times. I saw it on Twitter multiple times, and then I decided to click it. Right? It was like it took like 4 or 5 exposures before I was like, oh, that picture of the shark is actually pretty cool. I think I will click that.
that picture drives me nuts. But yeah, that's from back in my marketing department days, when we were running ads in print magazines. We would never buy less than 3 ads in any magazine, and never, and it would always be 3 consecutive issues. However often those issues came out, it was a minimum of 3 ads across 3 issues in order to get any attention. Because the saying was something about the first time you see an ad, you completely ignore it. The second time you see it, this is talking about print magazines. The second time you see it, it starts to get your attention and looks familiar. The third time that you see it, you know what it is, and you generate interest off of that familiarity and having seen it before. So it's that familiarity of having seen it in multiple places multiple times that makes it valuable over time.
Right. But we also haven't seen, like, you've been running book ads for a while.
Yeah,
we
like
haven't seen a long tail. Like, it's not like we are just running them for a day.
Right.
We haven't seen a long tail off of these. Also, I don't know.
I've had 0 sales today as well.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I mean, my sales have leveled back out. Like, I had 3 yesterday. I have had 2 today. Most of them are from LeanPub, which is not all from LeanPub, actually. I haven't gotten any from DPD, which is what I'm advertising. So I've been pretty happy with that test.
I've actually been having sales from LeanPub. This I don't understand. I don't have anything advertised. Like, so is someone like doing a Google search and then are looking on LeanPub for the other book?
Set up goal tracking the same way I do. the way I told Derick to do it. It's really easy. It's for LeanPub. It's like a 3-minute thing, and you'll.
So there's a problem with LeanPub and tracking conversions though, because I get conversions from books that I didn't write, and the reason that happens is because other people, other developers, are advertising their book on leanpub.com. They'll send you to leanpub.com/Joe Schmo's awesome book, and if that person who views Joe Schmo's awesome book at some later point in time goes to view your book on leanpub.com, it counts as a referral from Joe Schmo's book. Because LeanPub has cookies set up to do that tracking. I get referrals in Google Analytics. I get referrals to other people's books.
Okay, well, I haven't. So what the goal tracking shows you is just the traffic source. So I see like Google, I see like 8 of my sales last week came from Google.
Right.
And 1 came from this Mac site that did a can't remember the name of it right now. Like you can see pretty specifically where stuff is coming from. I haven't seen LeanPub. That's interesting.
So I think I said that wrong. It's not that I'm seeing LeanPub as the source. It's that I'm seeing the other guy's blog or website with his ad that points to LeanPub as the source. Mm-hmm. So, let's say Hanselman has an ebook published on LeanPub. People click on Hanselman's link to LeanPub, and then at a later point in time, somebody goes to my book on LeanPub. I get a referral. Google Analytics sees that as a referral from Hanselman.com.
I've seen that too. I've seen Hanselman. He has a book on LeanPub. He has his relationship book that he hasn't finished yet.
Oh right, yeah.
I don't think he's published it yet. But I consistently see links show up back from his Wilhelm Stream blog post. You remember that one where he's like all the technology tropes? And I have scoured this page like did someone post a link
Yeah,
to my book on this page, which would be awesome.
right.
And I could not find it, but you're right, that's exactly
I've done that exact same thing. Like, sweet, this guy linked to me. Go look at his blog. No.
no.
Oh, he's got a LeanPub book. Oh, that's what's going on. I end up getting Google Analytics thinks that my traffic came from their website because
Right.
somebody clicked on their book and then later on went to my book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm pretty convinced that for at least for me right now, the advertising, the product directly is just not feasible and not workable.
I swear it was working for me, but now I'm wondering because I mean I've had zero sales yesterday and
Yeah.
today. I don't know what the crap's going on.
Your numbers, like your sales page converts really well. Like I think something like 6%, right?
Yeah, it was, but it's not now. It's
Yeah.
let me pull up the.
Well, but average it out. Like, take a month and like, what's that number? I did some math on it when we were having this conversation, and it looked like your ads were converting at somewhere like 3%, which seemed crazy high to me. Like, I just didn't think.
Yeah.
The site itself
possible.
was converting at 6.5% for end of January through end of March or something like that.
Right.
And right now, I mean, I had 177 visits yesterday, which should have netted me 4 sales, and that got me 0.
Well, but standard deviation, I mean, it could be that could fall in line. I mean, I wonder too if it just has to do with with when you first started doing the advertising, your name. Like, what account were you using? Were you using your Derick Bailey account?
Yeah, I've always used that.
Okay, so then, I mean, if the impression-wise, someone clicks, oh, Derick, I know Derick. Click. Oh, I'll buy his book. Click. Right, and then like you only get so much of that juice, right?
Yeah.
I mean that's I don't know.
True. You might have had some low-hanging fruit.
But you look at it like, see, I'm strongly considering like your what you were saying, Josh, because like when you look at like my list had 3,300 people, right, and I converted about 100, so that's about a third of a percent, right? So that means 1 out of every 300 clicks or people bought, right? Essentially. So here's the thing.
That's not right. It's 3%, right?
If I have 3,300 people and 100 people bought, if it was 1% would be 300 people, right?
No, that would be 10%. Yeah, 10%.
No. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. 1% would be 30 people?
Yeah, 33.
Yeah. 30.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. So I've got it wrong. So it's a 3% conversion about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
on a $300 product.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah.
But off of my list,
Right.
off of people who know me, right? Who are on my list at least, right? But then like Twitter ads, right? I have 500 clicks with 0 conversions.
Right.
So that's less than, I mean, that's like a fractional, who knows what the number is. I mean, I have to do enough testing, but let's say that it's like a tenth of a percent.
Mm-hmm.
It makes so much more sense to get people, like the sales funnel has to be like get people on your list and then like court them for a while. Like the longer you court them, the more likely they're going to buy your stuff.
Well,
like you might be able to get, what's that?
Those 3,000 people on your list are not done buying.
No, they're not done.
You have a lifetime. You have years to get them, and probably another 3% or more will buy over the course of this product's life.
But see, you can kind of throw that point out if you're using DPD because you're getting them on your list automatically.
Right.
So if you direct advertise your product on DPD, right, you're going to get them on your list. But the question is, like, if you can get them on the list first and then take them through an autoresponder sequence, and then like because I honestly think if I took people through the right autoresponder sequence, I bet I could get something like a 30% conversion rate or somewhere between 20 and 30% because I know which emails worked so well, right? Like, and maybe it's less than that, but let's say that it's even 5 or 10%, right? That compared to a fraction of a percent of direct advertising it, That's huge. So I mean, you could take all that traffic, all that number you're spending on advertising, instead of you can multiply your budget. So instead of spending $20 a day on advertising, you spend $100 a day on advertising, and so you get five times as many engagements, but then they're going onto the email list, and you're converting a higher percentage of them as well.
It's a machine at that point.
Yeah, so I think that, I mean, I don't know, I'm really leaning now towards, like, I want to take the easy route and just, like, advertise people straight to my page and have them buy, but no one's buying that way. So I know that the list converts, right? So that's where I'm getting at, is it's like, if I'm getting a 3% conversion rate on the list, then it makes so much sense to put people on the list and send them through the channel.
Right. And you're not, and you also, like, if you could you could do something like break your product up. You don't want to do that necessarily, but you could say, hey, I'm going to carve off this book. I'm just going to sell this book for $30. Well, now you have all those people who maybe won't buy, maybe a lot of them won't buy your $300 version, but they'd buy the $30 version.
Right, exactly.
And next time, if you could do another product, you could,
Right. So I mean, you can, like, what you could basically do, like, is if you target them for the list specifically, like, I mean, we have our general email list, right? But I'm thinking about putting, like, what would you call this? Like a I don't want to say purgatory, but it's like this containment field list, right? If you come in through a Twitter ad where you signed up to get, because of interest in my topic or my course or whatever that product is, then you go into this containment list. And this containment list, two things happen on this containment list. You either buy or you unsubscribe. And I mean, the courting process is it's gentle at first, right? You get the nice friendly emails, helpful stuff. You give them a bunch of free stuff. But then you start sending the sales. And just like in a week's span of time, I sent 6 emails, and some people bought on the 6th email, a huge number. It's the same type of deal. It's like every time that you send an email to that person in that autoresponder sequence, there's like a % chance that they're going to buy. And so it might be 20% the first time, and then it might drop down to 10, it stays at 10 for a long time. But you could basically have a big autoresponder sequence. I'm talking like 40 emails, right? And you could basically say, if someone makes it all the way through 40 emails and doesn't buy and doesn't unsubscribe, that's just crazy, right? Yeah. But most people are either going to unsubscribe or they're going to buy, but you keep on hitting them. You're going to get a ridiculous conversion rate. You're not putting them in your general email list. That's what I'm talking. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah. It sounds like a marketing scammy kind of thing to do.
Well, here's the deal. It's not like they sign up on your website to just be part of your regular Friday emails. This is specifically Twitter or advertising, paid advertising, where you have targeted, an ad for them for this particular interest. So, I mean, you want to convert these numbers over. And here's the thing. Here's the beauty of this, right? When they finally purchase, then they go over to the normal list. Then they get graduated over to your normal list. But you keep on hitting them until they either unsubscribe or they make a purchase. Because if they never make a purchase from you and you've sent your 40 best autoresponders, then you don't even want them on your regular list because they're never going to contribute to your bottom line. I mean, I don't mean to be like that, but it's honestly, we're running businesses, and that's the truth. Right. Like, there's no point in having someone on your list. They can subscribe to your blog via RSS.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think for me, I'd rather have a bigger list that I could sell that I could sell multiple things to, versus having a bunch of special purpose lists. Even if, I don't know. That's an interesting idea, though. I'm not really necessarily discounting it.
You can sell them all this stuff. I mean, you can try different things on that. Like, in your autoresponder sequence would start with your whatever. I don't know. You figure out the path, right? But as soon as they graduate off of that list, then they're in your regular sales, email list. And you can try different products.
It's similar to what Nathan Barry designed ConvertKit to do, which is basically you have like an email course that you sign. You advertise an email course in something, and it leads up to a pitch for your product. And then when they're done, like, the idea is you just merge them in with your other list.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So I reinvented that. sort of.
Well, you've added, you've taken it to 11 with the idea of continuing to pummel them.
Right.
Honestly.
I don't mean to make it sound
It sounds like the CrossFit of lists, though. Man, I mean, like only the fittest survive, you know?
Well, I don't mean to make it sound like that, but these are people
Yeah.
that you have paid for advertising to bring
Right.
on to your. I mean, it is totally a monetary. These aren't people that followed you because they liked your blog. I mean,
Right.
that's a totally different thing. Like you know, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying is like you're this is totally an economic play. This is totally a numbers play. And you know, this is, to me, it seems like the best way. You know, after doing this launch and seeing how like pummeling people with email, you know, actually does work, it seems like it makes the most sense. Like if you pay for someone, if it costs you like $2 to pull in this person from Twitter onto this list, you should throw 10 emails at them, because if they buy on the 10th email, right, you're gonna get back that money.
Right. Yeah, my perspective's a little different because I'm planning to release a series of smaller products versus one bigger one.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
You know, like if somebody doesn't buy Sublime Productivity, they might buy my next book, which you know is more general interest web developer stuff, or they might buy a cheat sheet from me, or they might sign up for my 30-day Sublime course that I'm going to have to do at some point, my email course idea. You know, so for me, it doesn't. I think it wouldn't pay to try to necessarily squeeze a specific product sale out of a segment of my list, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, you could just put multiple products in that auto-spawner sequence.
Yeah.
You could have the gauntlet.
Gauntlet.
It's like, buy this. No, how about this?
Yeah, well, I do
How's
need
your elbows?
I do need to get better about, this is one thing, so that email that I got this week really got me thinking, the one I forwarded it on, like there's basically three things that you need to do. You need to be acquiring leads, you need to be creating products, or you need to be selling. And the part I'm good at 1 and 2, which is I've done pretty well with creating products and acquiring leads, and I'm still weak on the selling part. So I need to get better at pushing people in my mailing list. You know, I need to have checkpoints where I push out a pitch to them on a regular basis. You know, even if it's like only once every 2 months. If I can do that, and then I can get people. I've got a good stream. I mean, I'm at the point now where I think I could probably add 500 to 1,000 people to my list for $300 to $600 a month.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, before my last book launch, I was estimating people. You know, an email subscriber was worth about $3 to me. So you know, for $1,000, that's like less than $1 a piece. So I'm definitely making money there. Now that value's gone up because I have a package that I can sell, and I'll have more product coming out soon. So I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, I just need to get better at regularly putting those products out there without doing a big sale. That's my biggest weakness right now. Is my approach to shaking the tree and getting some of that profit is doing a sale, and that's not where you want to be.
Yeah. That's exactly why I think that approach of like these leads, of taking the leads through a gauntlet, would make a lot of sense for you, because
I'm actually up for doing that, but on a less severe basis. Like I think what I would want to do is have an autoresponder sequence where it's like tip, bam, say, you know, pitch, tip, tips, pitch, like once a month maybe. And I need to get it so that the weekly emails lead up to something. Like they should be leading up to my pitch as the logical next step. So I need to. I don't know. I have to put some thought around how to do that with my products.
Yeah, and I mean, don't misunderstand me. It's not like I'm saying put people on the email list and just only send them advertisements. I'm saying like send them useful stuff, send them free stuff, send them tips and help. But then send enough sales stuff. Like keep on pitching after you pitched once. To like don't give up after the first pitch.
Yeah.
You know, because you can't do that on your regular list except for sales.
I'm gonna do it on my regular list.
Well, but you can't do it like except for when you do a sale. Like you can't do a lot, like 5 emails in a row, like
Oh, I see. Yeah.
you know, I mean, you can create your own sale in your segment, in your autoresponder sequence, and say you've got 5 days, or you know, you can put the time constraint, and
Right.
you can make a personalized sale for the person.
Right.
Right.
That's an interesting idea.
And I bet people are doing it. I signed up to this guy Elliot Huss, like this Yo Elliot. Yo Elliot, yeah, you'll be interested in this one. Sign up for his thing. His autoresponder sequence is kind of crazy.
Okay.
He's got, this dude has,
Yo.
it's
YoElliot.com.
or I did a search on Yo Elliot. Let me throw a thing in here. But this guy is really interesting. He's kind of crazy, but if you go to that link and you click on products, I think you're gonna like flip your lid here.
Okay.
So you see his products page?
Is this Huel's Strength and Training Fitness blog?
Yeah.
Okay.
Insane. He's got like how many products on there? Like 15 products. Each of them are like $100, $200, you know, systems.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get into his autoresponder sequence, he starts with one of them, and then he goes to the next one. Like, he takes you through a bunch of these products. So I think maybe he's doing what I was talking about.
Okay. Interesting. You know who does a good job at this is a copywriter that I'm following by the name of Bob Bly, B-L-Y. He's written a book called it's over there on my shelf, called Copywriter's Handbook, and the guy's written like 83 books. He's a machine. He's really savvy. He's up there on the experts list with, like, you know, the Halberts, and but he's he sends an email every day, and a lot of them are just advertising his products, and I'm sure I'm in some kind of sequence where that's going to peter out.
Mm-hmm.
But he sends so much good stuff too that I don't mind at all. Actually, might buy the product he sent me today. So
It works.
Yeah, it does. I mean, see, that's interesting. Like sending an email every day, you would think. I mean, I don't know. I learned a lot from this launch. The biggest thing I learned from this launch is that people are a little bit more patient than you would expect, because I expected to have massive unsubscribes.
Unless you use words like secret and bold financial. And then people complain that you're just another marketing guy.
Yeah.
No, I totally get what that guy was saying, though. I mean, rereading that email, it really did come across as scammy marketing language and formatting. It was pretty odd.
I think that it was great copy for a sales page, but I think that for the personal, like those when you're not selling something, it's got to be like more low key, more friendly, chummy.
But I mean, how else do you? That's how I did. I literally copied and pasted from the email that I sent to you and Josh. I mean, that was copy and paste, and then.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think that guy, that it's valuable to take his feedback, and it's good that you responded to him, and that great that he responded back.
And he responded again and actually said that he really likes the stuff that I'm producing and is looking forward to seeing more. He just got tired of the mailing list.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I would take that as just one data point and move on. But I mean, seriously, dude, if that I didn't realize. I mean, if you didn't go through and juice it up, you know, if that's just how you write, then I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I've definitely have been, like, with my Sublime, like, I decided a while ago that I just wanted to have more fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I just started putting a lot more of me into it, and there's snarky comments, you know, like I had in my last one, I had a comment about, you know, I have a client that I'm working with right now, and he decided that he wanted to change the color scheme on this site I built him. Like, after he saw it, he was like, "Oh, it targets a middle-aged to older audience."
Right.
So I chose a subdued color scheme, and then he's like, "Oh, us old people need cheering up," so he wants more cheerful colors. So, you know, I put that, like, I don't know, like, and I grumbled about it a little bit, and, you know, I was like, I don't know, I'm just having fun with it, and I haven't had anybody complain about the tone. I've actually stepped up, you know, since I've been into the copywriting stuff lately. I've been kind of stepping up just a little bit of the hype, sprinkling a little hype in there, and really nobody's complained.
Well, it's a
I don't know.
transition too, right? I mean, you're I don't know. I mean, you kind of expect this from Derek's audience because it's like, I don't know, like if I got a new haircut, right, and I put on these hipster glasses, right, and everyone for like a week, everyone's like, oh, are you a hipster now? Are you Clark Kent? But then after a week, right, after 2 weeks, then they're like, oh, well, that's John. Right.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. It's like Derick. It's like, hey, Derick, are you a marketing spammy guy now? And they're gonna say that for like a couple weeks, and then it'll be like, okay, so this is Derick. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's just gonna take an adjustment period. There'll be all these unsubscribes, and then people will be like, oh, okay, so this is cool. I like this.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, but my point in all of that is I don't want to become. I don't want my identity to be as in anything anywhere near as a marketer. My whole goal in my career has always been to be the guy that helps you be a better developer, and that's what I want to be known as. And crossing those lines of marketing, I mean, half of our conversations in this group lately have been driving me crazy because we're just talking about marketing all the time, and we're not talking about code or process or any of the stuff that we started talking about when we were first getting together before we started recording things. So it's like I can see our conversations. I can see the value in what we're talking about and the necessity of it all. But I also see that our conversations are heading down a path that I kind of want to steer clear of. Not entirely, but I don't want it to be like my entire focus. I don't want my life and my content and everything else to be so focused around the marketing side of things that I'm not writing about the technology side of things, which is where I got my audience from in the first place.
Right.
Well, and I totally get you, but here's the deal: like you've got to. I think we're all figuring out the marketing aspect of this. I think because okay, we've got to be able to build sustainable businesses, right? Yeah. And you're not going to be able to reach people if you can't do that.
Right.
And me and Josh just both went through launches, right? So that's a big marketing thing.
And I'm trying to do a short one now for watching.
Yeah. So marketing is the most important thing for that, but I think there's going to be a period where all three of us get more established, where we've got the groove, we've got the Twitter ads going, we've got like a sales funnels, and then we can shift your focus more back on the product again. Like you go through those phases of lead acquisition. I think to what Josh said, lead acquisition, product building, and sales. Right. And right now, both Josh and I just turned off a sales corner, so now it's kind of, I don't know. I mean, you're about to turn one, I guess, right? So and then I think we're going to most of us will probably be in lead acquisition, and then it'll be product phase again. So I don't know. I think that I agree with you, but I think that it's just going to be cycles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that I agree that like that one of the things in that email that I forwarded was that basically you are in the business of marketing. I mean, there's no getting away from it. You can either do it poorly or you can try to do it well. And you can't serve. I mean, marketing is not anything more than reaching the people that you want to serve.
Right, and that's I think that's part of my problem is I still have this overtly negative reaction to the term marketing.
Yeah.
But in reality, the last 10 years of blogging is marketing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's content marketing. It's a specific type of marketing. It's giving my audience the information that they want.
Right.
And with no expectation of sales or anything like that.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
still
and I
a
think
form of marketing.
I think what you're reacting to a little bit is just tactics.
Yeah.
There's certain tactics you're not comfortable with, and that's fine. I mean, I think we all need to have that line that we're not willing to cross.
Right. Like the
part
The
of being.
Derek Halpern, if you don't have a pop-up, you're an idiot. I mean, I get his point, but that's not a line I want to cross right now.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I don't want a pop-up on DerrickBailey.com. I think the lead pages stuff is great. I've added 78 people to my mailing list in 4 days. That's freaking phenomenal. I mean, some of it's from talking about Watch Me Code coming up and asking people to join in order to get on the Watch Me Code early access. But I'm 78 people in 4 days without having a pop-up on my website. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you can. Well, okay. So the one television show that I watch is Shark Tank.
Yeah, my dad loves that show.
Okay, now
He's hoping to get on it.
this guy came on, and he said, "Oh, I want to create jobs for my little town in Oklahoma or whatever it is. I don't know where it was,
Right.
but anyway, he had this product, right? And he's like, so I'm manufacturing it in the U.S. It's all U.S. made stuff. And then the one guy was like, hey, well, you need to ship it overseas so that you can lower the cost. Like, you got to make this stuff. And he's like, no, America, right? And he's like,
Right.
saying, yeah, no, I want to create jobs, I want to whatever. And then finally, the investor, he's like, look, here's the deal, dude. If you don't agree to this, if you don't manufacture the parts overseas, you're like already in debt. You're not going to build your company. You're just going to collapse. So here's the deal. Like, you got to do this. I know you don't like shipping it out to China, but you're going to do that to lower the cost of the product, which is going to make your company profitable, which is going to make it so that you can build a company and hire people in the United States to run that company and to create jobs in your town. And otherwise, you're going to do nothing. Otherwise, you're going to fail. And I think that's kind of how I look at it with the whole marketing, or possibly with the pop-ups. It's like some of this stuff. It's like, if you're going to have a job doing this, like, I don't know. For me, it's like, if I'm going to do this full time, like, I'm going to have to sell stuff. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to produce as much. I'm going to produce a fraction of what I can produce. So I don't know. I mean, we've all got to kind of, like, I don't know. You've got to ship things to China, but keep the important stuff at home. Like, you're building solid products, but the marketing aspect of it, you might have to, you have to make some compromises there. I don't like having a pop-up on my page, but it converts so well that it's.
Mine's still converting at 11%, 11.5%.
Is that for all visitors or for?
That's the pop-ups. That is that's being tracked by the pop-ups. So it shows after 3 to 5 seconds. I think I forget the number. So once it displays, I'm getting 11.5% of people. For me, that's about 100 people a month.
Right.
That I wouldn't get otherwise, which
Right.
is about $100 plus of revenue.
I mean, for people that click on my sign up for my mailing list link,
Mm-hmm.
I'm converting at 30 to 40%.
Yeah, the lead pages stuff converts really well. If the number that's not telling you is just overall visits.
Right. So I have to compare that. I mean, I 448 people that have seen my Los Techies sign up for my mailing list lead box. That's probably 4,000, 5,000 people that have viewed a blog page with a link on it.
Right.
So that's 10%.
That's still pretty good.
33%, really 30% of 10%.
And you're serving that audience. That's the key thing. It's like, I don't know. Seth Godin had his marketers are liars. In his book, he was like, the difference between good marketing and bad marketing is he's like, it's a matter of, would you buy the product if they knew everything you knew about the thing that you're selling? Would you buy it still? And for me, everything I sell, I can honestly answer that question, yes. And so, like, as long as everything that you're doing is ending up being a good deal or a good thing for the person on the other end, then it's good. But if you want to find an example of bad marketing, go over to the Warrior forums and look at the scammy kind of crap. I mean, you're talking about crap that someone threw together in like 2 days. And then threw up some page, and they're trying to sell this thing for $50 or $60, and they actually literally threw it together in 2 days, and it literally contains no value at all. Like this is, I mean, that's why marketing has a bad name, but that's a totally different thing than, I mean, I don't know about, I mean, I know about you guys because each one of us, when we made our products, we killed ourselves making our products. Like we still do. Like, I mean, I spent 3 months, like just working 15-hour days trying to get this thing together, and I know, Derick, you kill yourself on your screencasts and everything that you're producing. Like I don't know, to me there's no shame in marketing stuff that is quality, that you're providing a service for someone.
Yeah, I think we all, like, for me, where I am right now is I have a rickety funnel. I need to prop up that funnel, and then I can focus on other stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's once you get that, it's a machine, you can build it, and then I just want to get it to the point where I'm just tweaking a few Twitter ads every week, and that's really all I have to think about.
Right.
And it just runs from there.
Yeah, I'd like to get to the same point with my product now.
Yeah. I thought I was at that point with my Backbone plugins book, but my sales are gone. My traffic is gone too. I mean, I turned off those ads yesterday, and I've only had 10 visits to the site today, which is less than, that's like less than 10% of my average traffic.
Right. Well, but I mean, that's why it's like you got to grow your email list, right? It's gonna, and you're growing it now.
I can't keep pummeling my email list with buy my book.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
No.
I hit 1,400 people yesterday. Of the 1,400 people on that mailing list, every single one of them has seen my book ad at least once. If not through the mailing list, then on my websites.
Right.
Because they're following me on Twitter.
You've got to set up an autoresponder sequence for when people first join your list, that they get pitched, they get some things, and then they eventually get pitched the book, so that you can be sure that everyone gets the pitch, and you don't have to pitch people that have already been pitched multiple times. That's the point of the autoresponder.
Yeah, Derick, you might do well because your products are different. You're in a little different position because I have like Sublime Text as that's my list. So. Right. Everything I do is focused on that list is focused on Sublime Text. So that's an easy, like for you, you've got a conglomeration of things that will eventually let you build multiple good products for your audience. Mm-hmm. But it's tough. It's tough. You don't want to just pummel people who are following you because you're an entrepreneur about Backbone.
Right.
So
and I don't want to pummel people that are following me for screencasts with, career and there's too many freaking audiences in there, but that's who I am. I am all these things, and I don't think it's appropriate for me to segment the list into individual pieces.
What you might be able to do would be, if as an entrance, so you could advertise an email course about Backbone, write like a 5-day email series about it, and then at the end of that, pitch them your course, and then after that, they get on your general list.
Yeah.
You don't have to bother them unless you do a sale. Like that because you've got these little specialized products like Node and Backbone, and that you could promote. Like the more specific you are with your advertising, the better it's going to convert in terms of signing people up, but then also in terms of actually converting to sales. So that might be one way to slice that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. All right, so what about this this show? When are we putting this thing up?
Oh man, I'm so far behind in everything. I haven't even reached out to Mandy yet.
Do you want one of us to reach out to someone else to get a quote, or?
I want to say yes, but at the same time, I feel like I'm putting too much on you guys. It's that stupid position.
Could
where,
you introduce one of us to Mandy?
Yeah, I mean
I can. I mean that would be because we'd like to develop that relationship.
Right.
Right. But if you just don't have time, I certainly can identify with that.
Yeah, I'm so much in panic and fire reaction mode at this point, trying to get Watch Me Code done. I want to have this thing out the door next week because I desperately need the income. I mean, I've got like client work that I'm trying to do, and I've got just so many things going on right now. It's like, oh, dang it, I have just one more thing to do, email her and figure out this whole editing and uploading, and I've got work I need to do on Signal Leaf. My webhooks for Stripe are failing, so I'm still having to manually correct everything. I'm not getting enough traffic to Signal Leaf to get any signups. It's just pulling my hair out.
Heads are
That's why we're
falling off.
talking about. That's why we're talking about marketing, though. A lot of that, anyway. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, because see, that's a good.
Your stress is all marketing related right now, or like a big chunk. That's why we're talking about it. So I know it's not.
It's not all, because I mean half of it is, and the other half is code that I don't have time to write because I'm spending all my time marketing.
But once you have the stream coming in, then you could focus on the code.
Yeah, you guys keep telling me that, but I mean, for the last 3 months, I've been focusing on the marketing side of things, on that belief, but I haven't seen, for all of the effort that I'm putting into the marketing side of things, I haven't seen any significant increase in my ability to focus on code, having put in all these marketing things.
Well, it's taking time, but you're making
When does
progress.
it end? If it's not going to end now or soon, when will it end? Am I going to be on this endless treadmill of having to do marketing stuff so that I can get to code and never get to code because I'm on this treadmill that won't stop?
Well, I mean, your marketing efforts are you're picking up more people on your email list. Like you're figuring out. I mean, it's going to take some time. I think. That's. I don't know what. I mean, it hasn't really been a long time.
3 months in terms of having features that I know need to be there and I simply have not made time for them is a fairly long time.
I guess. Well, where would you be the other way if you went the other route?
I would at least have the features that I could advertise. Then I would have something to talk about in my marketing efforts.
Well, if you think that's a better road, I'm not. I don't want to stand in your way from it.
I don't know what it. I don't know what it is. I mean, I have no clue. I mean, I've been leaning on you guys to help me understand that, and I don't know.
I think we're all kind of figuring that out.
Yeah.
I think that's.
How do you market something that doesn't have any value?
See, I highly disagree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a self-confidence issue more than anything. I mean, whenever you're close to something, I think this is where. So you're going to come away from the project you're doing now with your sales page, feeling a lot better about pitching your product, because you're so close to it that you can't see any value to it.
Yeah.
That's every entrepreneur. That is every person who's ever created anything. You're too close to it. You need somebody else to come in and show you where the value is and how to talk about it. Like that's why people hire marketing consultants.
Yeah, it's
so.
But that's why I've spent half of my income for the year on marketing.
Yeah, I've definitely. I mean, I know that feeling though, and that's how I feel about my book, about every other day. About my books is like, why would anyone pay for this?
Right.
People keep paying for it. So.
Yeah, my problem with my book is I really truly believe that there is a shitload of value in my Backbone plugins book. I just can't get other people convinced of that for some reason. Not as much as I think
you are.
want.
I think you are getting.
You're converting guys. Yeah.
It's just traffic. It's not. It's purely a traffic issue, a warm traffic issue versus cold traffic from Twitter.
Yeah. Because you're converting like ridiculously high.
I would kill, man. If I'd kill for, I'd be making twice as much money right now with your conversion rates.
I thought I was going to as well, but then my sales have dried up this week. No idea why. I mean, maybe all of my traffic was coming from Los Techies. And now that I'm not at Los Techies anymore, maybe that's why my traffic is dead.
Well, that's definitely a piece of it. There's no, I mean, when you cut off, when you switched, there was no question about that you were going to lose some traffic, but it
Yeah.
was a choice for the long term.
Right.
I mean, it was it was weaning off of the tit
Right.
of the donkey.
You say it that way. I mean, my RSS subscribers are at 2.7 thousand. I mean, I've got a pretty amazing. When I joined Los Techies, the whole of Los Techies had an RSS subscriber of 2.7 thousand.
Yeah.
So I've got that personally now, which
So,
I think
yeah.
is pretty amazing.
Yeah, just keep on writing. You're headed in the right direction. You're getting so many more email signups. You've got the Derick Bailey now. You've got like a strategy for getting the continual like a stream of email signups. You're figuring out the email newsletter thing, and you're making. I mean, you're going to make some course corrections, and you're going to find your voice in that and what works. I don't know. It's just a process.
Yeah.
Where you constantly ride a roller coaster and think that the world is shit. And then
And I am Mr. Negative to begin with. I'm like the most horribly pessimistic person that I know. Like everything, the every cloud has a silver lining because it's made out of mercury.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely have a little bit of a negative streak too. Just kind of.
I'm a
Pretty easy for
dark,
me.
cynical, sarcastic bastard. I do. It takes a hell of a lot of work for me to not project that all over my blog and Twitter. Like every single day, there are 20 or 30 tweets a day that I just don't send.
That's funny. I'm the optimist.
Yeah, I'm not. But that's why I sit here and listen to death metal all day long while I'm writing marketing material and code.
There we go. Yeah. It gets better. I mean, that's the thing. I guess that's the thing that we all sign up for. That I think none of us had any idea of. That was that we were signing up for a roller coaster of. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's up and down. I mean, right before I launched, I was like, oh crap, I don't even want to do this anymore. This sucks balls.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just going to cancel the friggin' launch. This is just ridiculous, right? And then even the first day, I was like, 3 orders rolled in at like, it was 2:00, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to go, hang myself. $600 I made for 3 months worth of work. Good job, John. and then now it's great. But next week when my Twitter ads are not converting, I'll be like, life is crap. I'll forget that I made 20 grand last week, and that's just how it goes. So.
Yeah. Your past successes, over time it helps a little bit, but it's still not as much as you'd think. I mean, man.
Yeah.
I've made like more than $25,000 off these stupid books at this point, and I don't have a sale for 2 days, and I am emotionally shot.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I think if I counted up, hold on, give me 1 second. So today's Friday. What was last Friday's date? Last Friday was the 28th. Okay, give me 1 second here.
I'm gonna go buy 50 copies of Derick's book.
Just to cheer him up.
Yeah, so in the last week, I've sold 15 copies of the book, which is down from my usual 25.
Mm-hmm. Still not bad.
That's not a significant deviation.
It's rough when you. What I find rough is when I sell 6 in one day and none the next.
Yeah, and none the next 2 days.
Yeah, and it averages out, but I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So one last thing about the podcast. I mean, often these things go like we've been talking for almost 2 hours now.
Yeah.
I think we should have whoever is editing split these things up into smaller episodes. Like find logical breaking points where we switched from talking about marketing to talking about John's launch. So let's ask them to find logical breakpoints in the conversation and split them up into multiple episodes that we can release throughout a week.
Oh, so okay, so 1 week would be 2 or 3
3
episodes.
or 4 episodes, yeah. And it would be, last week's conversation, but it would be 3 or 4 episodes out of that one conversation because people don't want to sit and listen to 2 hours of talk. They'll listen to 30 minutes, 45 minutes, but not an hour and a half, 2 hours.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think I agree with you.
I face that in screencasts. People don't want 30-minute screencasts. They want 10 minutes.
Yes.
That's part of the reason I'm switching to subscription with short episodes.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Okay, so as soon as I am done talking to you guys, I will email Mandy and copy both of you on that and let her know what's going on and get the ball rolling so that one of us can not be a hypercritical, oversensitive asshole like me and actually get the work done.
Don't sweat it. We'll get this. Once we get this thing up, then this thing will pretty much be off our plates.
Right.
And then we just have to worry about podcast recorder because we've actually taken people's money for it. So.
Yeah. That's another thing.
Yeah. But hey, it's I don't know. Just look back. I mean, I don't know. Each one of us 6 months back, where were we? Where are we today? I don't think anyone's
a stable job and a steady income.
Hey,
didn't have to talk to us every week.
Yeah, we told you to wait. You're like, no, I'm quitting my job. That's it.
Screw you.
No, I don't know. I think things are going well. We're just, it just takes time.
Here I am bitching and moaning about I'm on target to make 80,000 this year, and that sucks.
Oh,
right?
boo-hoo! Yeah, exactly.
Boo-hoo! And when my wife is making 69 grand herself, so I mean, you add our two incomes together, what the hell am I complaining about?
Right? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Just don't sweat the money so much because you're operating with a gun to your head right now, and that's
the number one saying of people that don't have to worry about money is don't worry about money.
Well,
I fucking hate it when people that have money say that. It drives me nuts.
Okay, Derick, I'm making less than you though.
I know you are, but you've got yourself set up in a good financial situation. I'm an idiot that doesn't know how to save money or budgets.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I was in the hole for negative $3,000 on real estate for a while. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not saying it from it's not like I came with a silver spoon in my mouth. I'm just saying you can't make smart decisions when you feel like you've got a gun in your head. You've got breathing room, like you just said. That's what I'm just saying. Don't put pressure on yourself to be a 6-figure entrepreneur, on your first year of going back to independence, and trying to actually be not just serving clients independent, but product-based independence.
Right.
I mean, how many businesses turn a profit from their products in a year? I mean, I know you've had your products for a while, but still, it's I don't know.
Yeah, Signalate definitely won't be one.
Well, yeah, but that's a long-term play. But
all right. Okay, I'll stop complaining.
Okay.
At least for this week, for this hour.
All right. I guess we probably should wrap this up. So. Okay. We've got to forward progress on our thing once Derick sends that email.
I'll do that right now as soon as we hang up.
And if you copy us on it, we can take it from there if need be. So.
Right.
Yeah.
John can explain his little system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to get some quotes too from some alternatives too, so we have that as a backup. So.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Alrighty.
See ya.
Take care. Oh, I got to pay you, Derick. I'm going to be paying you soon too. So.
Oh heck yeah.
I owe you a bunch of money.
More money to pay taxes on, Derick.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I'll pay you this week. I'll pay out all the things. So.
Cool.
All right.
All right. See you guys.
Wanna start a business, but you just know how to code.